David in California. Hey, you're on. You want to talk about the Bible is scientifically accurate, specifically Genesis 1?
What's
Good
really
luck.
good? I'm eager for us to get to what David has to say. But David, let me ask you at the beginning: did you hear the last call?
Yes, I did.
The last caller said that you cannot use science to prove God. Do you agree with the last caller?
I'm not trying to prove God. I'm trying to prove the Bible is correct in its order.
Okay.
The Bible, okay. So you're trying to prove the Bible is correct in its order. What order?
Well, in Genesis 1, they were supposed to write that down.
Oh,
They
yeah,
did. It's Genesis 1.
it's fine. Okay.
I'm saying that science itself verifies the order of Genesis 1 as being correct.
Except that I'm sitting here, I'm looking at the same page that I've looked at for a gazillion years. So if we just go to the index of creationist claims at talkorigins.org, the creation account in Genesis 1 lists 10 major events in this order: a beginning, a primitive earth in darkness and enshrouded in heavy gases and water, light, an expanse or atmosphere, large areas of dry land, land plants, the sun, the moon, and the stars, sea monsters and living creatures, wild and tame beasts, and then man. However, the real order is a beginning, and then light. By the way, light is third in the biblical one, but second here. Then the sun and stars, which is number 7 in the biblical order. Then comes the primitive earth, moon, and atmosphere in number 4, whereas the primitive earth is listed at number 2 in the Bible. Dry land, sea creatures, etc. So the order listed in Genesis does not match the order as identified under scientific inquiry.
Well, I'm postulating that it does.
Okay, well,
cool. Okay, first of all, which cosmology are you doing? Because Matt just read, I believe, from the standard Big Bang cosmology of what the order was. So what are you using?
I'm using the cosmology of David.
The cosmology,
of David. And your degrees are what?
I don't have any college degrees. I got about
I don't care about that either.
College. I do.
And your expertise is what?
I am not a scientist. I am not a scientist, but I have 2 years of physics and air conditioning and refrigeration, and I took astronomy.
I'm not concerned about that. I'd like for you to tell me, what is the cosmology of David? And if your case is that Genesis got the order right, comparing it to something other than the scientific order isn't going to get you anywhere. You do realize that, right? Like, do you believe?
Well, I don't know if we can. You make statements all the time like that, Matt. That science is definitely correct, and if you deviate,
no, sir. That is an absolute fucking lie. I am on record in countless shows of saying, A, science does not make proclamations of truth or certainty. Science gives us the best models based on the best current information. It is tentative and subject to revision at all time. How dare you accuse me of something that I have not said?
Okay, well, that's the same thing Hitler said. He said,
all right, we're done.
I tell you what, go ahead and hang up on him. I'm going to maintain my mellow because anybody so stupid in the last few seconds to try to say they're going to use the cosmology of David, and when I point out an honest response to an accusation of something I've said, and for the caller to say, well, that's what Hitler said, there's nothing for me to get upset about or mad because you escorted yourself out.
Yeah.
You disqualified yourself. You proved your own argument wrong. You were just calling in to hear yourself talk. And I'm glad that you got to hear yourself talk. I hope that somebody gets you a bouquet of flowers, maybe a nice meal, some chocolates or something, because it's clear that you need attention and affection, just like, somebody who's been abandoned by reason and a family. I'm sorry that your day is so bad that you decided to compare me to Hitler because of Genesis 1 in science.
Yeah. And if you're going to come up with your own cosmology, at least say, I have been studying cosmologies for the last 20 years or my entire life, or it's been a hobby of mine. I would accept that you might actually, have something interesting. But if you don't say that, then I don't know how you could say anything interesting, because you don't really have a grasp on the basics of what those things even are. So, okay.
I'm going to steal, because I also mentioned 8 out of 10 cats does countdown. I'm going to steal blatantly and give credit to Jimmy Carr for one of my favorite jokes ever, which is, say what you want about Hitler, he killed Hitler.
This is true. This is true.
That is one of my all-time favorite jokes from Jimmy. Jim, thanks so much. This has been grand, and
absolutely.
I hope you had a wonderful birthday. Thanks for steering.
Yeah, you're welcome. We had fun. Anybody
who thinks I was remotely, I don't know, riled up, can go fuck themselves, because I sat here patiently through all it. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I waited through a whole episode just to do that for fun.
Yeah. I get it. Oh boy.
We greatly appreciate all of you who have tuned into the show and been supportive over all these years. We're going to continue to keep doing this and all the other shows. Thank you so much for the donations that came in today. A good chunk of that is going to be going to help get bus passes to homeless people and more. I want to also thank the crew once again, if we can get them up there, because especially, I'm going to single one out. I'm going to single Katie out, because Katie has been steering the call screeners and came to me and was like, hey, is there a way that we can make the call screening work out better? And we came up with a marking system, and everybody's using it, and it has been useful and helpful. And that's because Katie is wonderful and not lazy like me. I would just show up and randomly take calls for an hour and a half and go home.
Yeah.
But we're very appreciative.
And that was actually very helpful in picking the last few callers when we got into crunch time. So I definitely appreciated that as well.
And the last people to thank are the moderators over in the YouTube chat. Thank you to everyone who did not make their life difficult. These are volunteers who are doing wonderful things and trying to make sure that we can have a good show and good conversations. We love and appreciate all of you. I hope to see you next week. Thanks for tuning in. Please be safe, and do not forget to vote if you are eligible to vote. Thank you. See you next week.